Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Happy Thursday. I'm your host, Tyler Keefe, joined as always by Kevin McIntosh. And Kevin, good to see you again today, and hopefully with a lot less of that stormy activity we've had. It'd be nice to have some sunshine back once and for all.
Like I always say, Tyler, another day, another opportunity to be here to talk to the people and update them on what's going on, especially with everything going on with this heavy rainfall, Tyler. It's been crazy.
Yeah, we'll get to a little bit more of the details of the aftermath of that heavy rainfall in just a moment. But we've had a really busy week here, Kevin. It's been a big news week in Greater West Bloomfield. It started off with a nice sunny day on Monday that then led into a gas leak at the end of the day, or near the end of the day for those that end their workday on the earlier side around 3:30, when a gas main had broke in West Bloomfield. It caused a closure in a major thoroughfare and a couple of major thoroughfares in some of the residential areas of West Bloomfield Township at Maple and Farmington Road. That took a couple of days to resolve, and of course earlier on this week on our Wednesday edition of the program we were able to report the good news that Farmington and Maple Road were back open for regular interaction, and then on top of all that, the remnants of Hurricane Beryl coming through our community, all of which causing a lot of stir in the community, a lot of buzz in the community. And to get the pulse of what the residents are thinking, we'll bring in the third member of our team, Thais Leverett, with us also on the Splash on this Thursday. Thais, welcome, and let's just start off with what happened earlier on this week with the gas leak, because that not only was a gas leak from a gas main break, that caused some traffic issues too. What have the people of West Bloomfield really been saying about that from what you have heard?
Yeah, for sure, Tyler. So as you mentioned, busy week here in West Bloomfield for a lot of reasons, and especially with a major thoroughfare like Maple being down for the count, if you will. Fortunately, selfishly for me, I usually take my son to some summer activities right in that area, but I had something to do on Orchard Lake, so I took a different way on Monday, or else I would have been impacted as well with the traffic. But it's good to see that everything's kind of back up and running, but it really shows the impact that, one small thing can have in a community like West Bloomfield, for sure.
Yeah, you've got the pulse on the community because you're a resident also, not only a member of our team, but you're a resident, and you talk to people in the community, and you're active in the community because you're an active person in the volunteer space in our community, but also because you have a lot of contacts in the community. How has this, from your perspective or from their perspective, especially that gas main break earlier this week, really affected the flow of normal things here in West Bloomfield over the course of this week?
No, great question. I think one of the things that had major impact, especially for that gas leak, was the timing, right? It hit right in the afternoon, Monday afternoon, when things are shutting down, people are leaving work. A lot of, again, afternoon summer activities are going on with families that use Maple to get to and from. So I think both the timing and the impact of having to really shut that area down was major for us. Also, just hearing from other residents talking about some of the things they had to do to circumnavigate when things were shut down, and how it caused a lot of delays, getting home, if you will. So you just really hear from people, just understanding when you have a major thoroughfare like that gets shut down, how that changes people's schedules, but also how people have been able to use, their Google Maps in their mind and figure out different ways to get around that. People had to be a little bit creative to deal with that this week, for sure.
And then by the time that was all resolved, Thais, we had the heavy rainfall coming.
Yes.
Earlier on in the week, the forecast was the remnants of Hurricane Beryl. They're going to be here on Thursday. They're going to be here Thursday early morning. It'll probably affect your morning commute, and then it'll be out of the way. Then suddenly Mother Nature, Michigan weather comes into play, and we get hit with it right in the middle of the morning commute and the work day. I mean, we got off the air here at 9:30 on Wednesday, and the first thing I heard from Kevin off the air is, wow, it's really starting to pour
Torrential.
out there. How was that
Yeah.
for you in West Bloomfield and for others dealing with that rain and what came from that on Wednesday?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a monsoon quality for sure. A lot more than I think people were expecting. I know, obviously, we all were aware that we're getting the remnants of a hurricane that was very significant, and definitely positive thoughts going out to the Caribbean and people in Texas who were impacted. And we knew that was heading our way for sure. But I think it was a little bit more than a lot of people expected. For my community, I think pretty much everybody was okay. There was no flooding in our actual neighborhood, but I think it really makes you think about how you can be prepared just in terms of your household. I have had water in my basement before. This time I did not. But it made me go double check my sump pump and kind of walk around the perimeter of my home to make sure that we were good to go. But in terms of just, again, another major impact to the commute and to driving around the community, I know a lot of the roads were flooded and you weren't able to get, where you wanted to get while waiting that out. Also, you had to think about safety in terms of driving in conditions like that. A lot of times you're just going to have to pull over, wait things out, don't drive through deep water. So a lot of things that you have to really think about and consider when you're inundated like that, especially when it's not expected.
Well, Thais, we thank you for your insight on this as someone that lives in the community, that's very active in the community, and is able to talk to a lot of people every day about these things that are happening, get a different perspective than we do, looking at these from the outside looking in and trying to dive into it. You are in the middle of it. Any other things we should know at this time that the people continue to be talking about, or what the pulse of the community is on these issues from this week?
I think, what we talk about oftentimes, especially I've heard it on the Splash many times, that when major things, whether it's a gas leak or a lot of water, or people getting their homes flooded or having to do something different because of conditions, just how neighbors have helped each other. I've heard of people going to each other's homes and, helping to bail water out if needed, or when power went out or cable went out, residents sharing their signal if they could, or saying, hey, come over and wait things out. So I think it just, again, speaks to the nature of the West Bloomfield community and us helping each other even when unexpected things like this happen.
Well, Thais, we thank you for your insight, and thank you for joining us. Glad that everything was safe on your end through the heavy rainfall earlier on this week, and that you were able to get a kind of a lucky break taking an alternative
Yeah,
route
this time I did.
on Monday with that. So thank you for your time.
All right, see you, Tyler. See you, Kevin.
Appreciate it. And Kevin, that's really what this is all about, is the way that these things kind of snowballed and affected the community in a variety of ways, really back to back, made for an action-packed first half of the week for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it just goes to say, like we always say, try to be proactive instead of reactive. Try to find different ways that we can kind of, be prepared for these type of things in case your electricity goes out, in case there's flooding in your neighborhood and things of that nature. But Thais gave a nice perspective from a West Bloomfield resident's place. Yes.
Yeah, and going back to that heavy rainfall, as we mentioned, that was the really big story on Wednesday that came through our community from really early portions of the morning commute all the way through the afternoon, with rain continuing quite consistently all throughout the day at various levels of severity. But parts of Oakland County, parts of the middle portion of Michigan especially were hit hard by this. Our area got some severe weather, got some heavy downpour, but not as bad as we may have been expecting. Remnants of Hurricane Beryl made its way through yesterday, and nearby White Lake Township, according to the Oakland Press, was one of the heavier hit areas in our general area here, with nearly 3.75 inches of rain alone just before 12 noon on Wednesday. The worst of the storm, however, hitting the mid-Michigan areas around Grand Blanc and Flint on Wednesday. However, according to the FEMA Flood Map Service Center, which is a really cool resource, if you search FEMA Flood Map Service Center, you can search by your address or by your community and take a look at some of the elevated levels of water around the area. We did that, and I've got some images for you that we'll put up on your screen. We'll begin with Cass Lake and Dollar Lake. Those are a couple of areas where we're seeing a little bit of elevated levels of water. In the blue on your screen here, you're seeing level that's at the base flood elevation at this time after these storms came through. That base level elevation, or BFE, is defined by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, as, quote, the elevation of surface water resulting from a flood that has a 1% chance of equaling or exceeding that level in any given year. So essentially, the surface level is a little bit higher than it normally is, and typically in any given year, there's about 1% chance that it would hit that level in normal conditions after some rainfall. So there are going to be some elevated levels of water. You may see some light flooding throughout our community. It's so far from what we have seen driving throughout, not anything all too major. We do have Jake Schaff from our team with us out in Keego Harbor at this time, right around that Cass Lake area and Dollar Lake area, where we're seeing some of those elevated levels on that map after yesterday's storm. Jake, as you've been observing out there today so far, what have you been seeing in terms of flooding or buildup of water? Has there been any?
Yes, Tyler, Kevin, good morning. Definitely seen some puddles, definitely seen some water that has made its way to the roads and from the lake. Even though it's a nice morning now, much better morning than what I had to deal with yesterday on the show, the remnants of the storm are still very much present. Thankfully, they don't seem to be as bad as they once were, as I think now that the sun shines out, a lot of this water is starting to evaporate and these puddles have started to shrink. So I think things are definitely getting back to normal, but you definitely can still see some remnants of what happened yesterday.
So Jake, where out in the Tri-Cities are you? I believe you're out in Keego Harbor, correct?
Yes, right now I am live from Rose Sorter Park right now. There are some small puddles around here, but once again, they're not big, they're not huge, and they're not a major distraction towards the roads, but they are definitely noticeable from the storms that took place yesterday.
So Jake, we'll have you just a moment here. We'll put you off the screen so you can move around a little bit and get a different perspective from that generalized area, because looking at that FEMA map on the shoreline of Cass Lake and Dollar Lake, we are seeing some of those elevated levels just off of the shoreline, or at least that was the case following the storm. It's very similar to what's been happening in Sylvan Lake also, especially around the community center and some of the homes nearby on the northeastern shoreline, as well as on the southwestern shoreline as well. As we go back to this image from Jake out in the field, you're seeing some of that, the puddling out there, Jake. Appears he's out of the range currently of that microphone, but that is okay. You are seeing a little bit of that puddling on the side of the street there, but nothing too major flowing outward from there. That being said, it's not that flooding isn't happening in our community, just from what we're seeing currently from being out and about looking at these maps. A little bit of elevated levels, but not nearly as severe as it possibly could have been if the storm had gone a little bit further south and into our area. Kevin, we'll bring you back in just a moment. Jake, thank you so much for that report out in the field.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate it. So Kevin, going back to us here in the studio, we had a chance to talk to Mark Hansel yesterday on the program from the Oakland County Health Division about these storms, and they actually have a lot of after effects beyond just the puddling. It could also affect some of our recreational activities, like enjoying our beautiful beaches.
No, you hit it right on the head. See, that's another perspective we don't necessarily think about. And like you said, Oakland County Health Division Chief of Public Health for Special Programs, Mark Hansel, joined us on the Splash Live to pretty much talk about how the remnants of Hurricane Beryl and heavy rainfall in general can affect the test levels when it comes to bacteria in our local lakes, and how that affects the county's decision on whether or not to keep the beaches open or closed.
With this heavy rain, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a little bit of an uptick in the number of beaches that do get closed.
Right.
There have been rain events in the past that have led to, 15 plus beach closures. Not every beach is going to be as susceptible to closure as potentially another beach. So it really has to do with the depth of the water, the temperature of the water, whether that beach area is exposed to sun and wind. Is there any current in that beach that kind of allows some flow through of the water across that beach? These are all different things that may keep one beach open in a heavy rain event, but another beach may get closed in a heavy rain event.
So with that being said, you may see some signs coming up in the next couple of days. That's if the bacteria levels in the test results show some spikes. But that could be a difference between a beach advisory and a beach closure. And Mark Hansel actually explained the difference.
The difference really is the advisory is very similar to a closure, in which we have evidence to suggest that swimming in that water might expose you to some bacterial contamination that could lead to negative health consequences. Where a closure is, we have laboratory confirmed results to suggest that there is absolutely bacteria in that water at a level that is above the state recreational water standard. And under our current Michigan public health law, we have to use that method to issue a closure where there's actually a bacterial count.
So overall, you want to pay attention to the signs on our local beaches if you are planning to go out there, whether or not it's an advisory or a closure. But for more information to understand everything that was just consumed on beach advisories and closures, visit oakgov.com/health to go to their website. You want to go to the public health services tab and then just search for environmental health, or just make it simple, go directly to their Facebook and at public health OC as in Oakland County. Great information for us for all of us to know, Tyler, about our local beaches and lakes.
Yeah, and for our side here, as we were researching for that interview with Mark Hansel on Wednesday, which, by the way, on demand, civiccentertv.com as we speak. Really interesting
right.
how they go through all the testing, what they're looking for. They're testing 100 beaches in 74 different communities in Oakland County over the course of the summer, and that's a fraction of the number of beaches in Oakland County and in our surrounding areas. And when there is an advisory that is posted, they do provide updates. They test daily to make sure that as soon as they can clear that beach to be reopened if it's closed, or can clear that beach to say, hey, look, go out there, have your fun, go in the water. It's perfectly safe at this point in time with the bacteria levels back to normal. They do that, and they keep on it. Really intensive work that they're doing at these 100 beaches, including several of those being in our 4 communities in West Bloomfield: Keagle Harbor, Orchard Lake Village, and Sylvan Lake. Now, Kevin, the rain yesterday interrupted what was otherwise scheduled to be a really fun Wednesday in the greater West Bloomfield area. Everyone was really looking forward to the kickoff of the Marshbank Music Series through West Bloomfield Parks. That was scheduled to happen on Wednesday evening. The Dan Rafferty Band was going to kick it all off on the concert hill. And, well, look, we knew pretty early on that this concert likely wasn't going to happen with the rain. It didn't take very long for West Bloomfield Parks to announce the cancellation of that concert. However, the good news is if you're looking forward to some of these rock and pop hits, you will be able to see the Dan Rafferty Band. They have been rescheduled for August 7th to be back on the concert hill. So they're going to technically add another week to the end of this show, one further week into August to make up for this date. That's been rescheduled. And then, of course, Marshbank Music will then officially kick off with week number 2 next week, weather and everything else permitting. The Thunderbeards, a ZZ Top tribute, will be on the concert hill, with that event beginning at its normal time and ending around 8:15. The concert begins, of course, at 6 o'clock, Kevin. Always a good time, and look, a little bit of a longer wait, only going to make that first concert that much sweeter.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for hopefully a better day with better weather, and it'll be a more anticipated crowd. So yeah, it's unfortunate it happens, but that's one of the downsides of the summer. Yeah, we get the great sunshine, but then sometimes we get the rain, but it's okay. I'm looking forward to it happening again on August 7th with great music and people coming out in the community.
Yeah, the rain didn't stop all the fun across our 4 communities, Kevin. In the city of Sylvan Lake, their food truck night went on without a hitch. The burger joint out at the Sylvan Lake Community Center on Wednesday had a pretty good turnout despite the rain. Throughout part of that time, it was there from about 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. in between the Planning Commission meeting and the City Council meeting and everybody getting home from their rainy day. Here you're seeing Bill Kolzak, one of our beloved veterans in Sylvan Lake. We've had him on the show here a couple times before, enjoying one of his burgers from the burger joint. Great selection. I even got to have a little bit last night too. Christian Mikey, the spirit of Sylvan, enjoyed it. I actually saw also Ben Clark, the former mayor of Sylvan Lake and current city council member, out there as well. He biked in to get a burger with his kids, went back home, enjoyed a meal, and came back for the city council meeting. So Kevin, not everything had to come to a halt in Greater West Bloomfield because of a little hurricane coming through our community. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, just a little hurricane, a little bit of rainfall, and that's what I say. Don't let the rain kill everything. If it's not completely drenched, or thunderstorms, I should say, then let's just have a good time. A little bit of throw on a raincoat and get out there and support the community. I'm so glad that they were able to get out there and still enjoy some parts of the events that we were throwing right here in our Greater West Bloomfield area.
Hey, a lot of rain, but a lot of parade in the Greater West Bloomfield area despite all of that on Wednesday. Spirits still very high across the Greater West Bloomfield area. And Kevin, when we get those inclement weather days, those ugly days that occasionally come through in the summer where there's cloud cover, there's rain, there's drizzle, we want to get inside, explore the community a little bit, go out to our shopping centers and our malls, and often interact with those small businesses that need some help from outside sources to really get off that kickstart and build our local business community.
That's a good way to put it, Tyler. Ultimately, we like to have resources available for our local businesses to help them thrive. And that's why recently right here on the Splash Live, we had Lakita Henderson actually join us right now, District Director for Michigan District Office for the Small Business Administration. Lakita Henderson joined us. Now, Lakita, thank you so much for being here. Can you explain the resources and support systems that are currently in place through the Small Business Administration to help businesses right here in the Greater West Bloomfield area, please?
Well, I'll let you know that the U.S. Small Business Administration Michigan District Office supports all 83 counties in the state of Michigan. And, and speaking of in Oakland County, West Bloomfield, we're here to support all small businesses. And just to give you an understanding of how our supports, we gave over $1 billion in loans to small businesses throughout the state of Michigan. We granted $1.8 billion in government contracting to small businesses. So we're here to support in terms to help you start, grow, and recover. So if you're thinking about starting a small business, we can help you with that. Conceptualize the idea. Where do you want that small business to be? We can help you with the research of where should it be? Is it the right business? Should it be here? Where should the building be? To help you even figure out, is it the right business? And then once you've identified that, we can help you look into, do you have the finances for it? Or what are the steps you need to take to start that business? And then we can help you grow it and make it a successful business. And so on and so forth, because we want you to be a successful business within your community, in the West Bloomfield community, because we, small businesses, are the community. They're the lifeblood of the community.
Correct. And I would agree with that too, especially with our community, West Bloomfield, a lot of small businesses in our area that thrive and provide a lot of jobs. Are there any specific or popular loan or grant programs that the SBA are currently hosting right now for small businesses?
In terms of, I would say our most popular loans are our micro lenders, because many times people think about getting loans, they think about the big dollar loans. We have micro lenders who are mission-based lenders, and that average loan is $13,000. So when people think about getting loans, it doesn't have to be, our lenders aren't, they only don't loan to, you need $1 million, you need 100,000. They loan $13,000. They can loan 5,000, 10,000, just that seed money to get you started.
Right.
And typically, SBA doesn't give grants. We give grants to organizations who provide the technical assistance, the counseling to those small businesses who need that assistance to do business plans,
Right.
to do those things that are needed to get in front of lenders, or who need that training.
Right. And joining us right here on the Splash Live, District Director for the Michigan District Office of the Small Business Administration, Lakita Henderson, just talking about the different grants, loans, and programs and resources available through the SBA. Now, specifically here in West Bloomfield, we have small business owners from the large brick and mortars in downtown to people just starting in their basement. And I know you say you have different levels, different programs. Can we just talk about at the lowest level as of right now, the beginning stage? What type of programs, resources do you have available specifically for people in West Bloomfield at that stage of their business, just starting off with the idea?
Just starting off with the idea, we have what we call resource partners. We have SCORE, Small Business Development Centers, and Women's Business Centers. If you're thinking about starting a business, you don't even have a business plan. Let's just say you don't even have a business plan. You just have an idea.
Okay.
And you want to get started. Call the Small Business Administration, because I want to get you in front of either SCORE or the Small Business Center, because we want to get you to get ready with a business plan. If you have a business plan, I want them to look at your business plan. Make sure it's a good business plan. And if not, they can help you get that business plan together. So this is a plan you can put in front of a possible lender, someone who can help get you that seed money to get that brick and mortar. To help start your business, because it all starts with your business plan. But also, I want them to look at your idea and say to you, is this a good idea? And let's do a little research, because research is the key. Research is the key. Is this a good plan? And they're going to be honest with you and say, let's think this through. Let's talk about this, because you want somebody that's going to be honest with you. And who's going to tell.
And we have a lot of successful businesses currently under our Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce also. For our successful, already thriving businesses, Lakita, who are looking to continuously grow and or expand, what type of resources, programs do you have available for them?
And it's perfect, because sometimes our businesses who've been already out there, they're looking going, well, what about us? All I hear about is startups. We have growth teams. We have teams that can talk to those who've already been in business, who are looking to scale, or who are looking to just maintain but run their businesses more efficiently. We have what's called a growth team who can help. Let's look at how you're doing, but let's look at how we can do it more efficiently. Or if you're looking to grow, let's look at how we can help you grow smart. And do you want to get another location? Or are you looking to go to another state? We have a growth team. So I would say, let's get you to the Small Business Development Center, and let's see how we can help you grow. So you know what, I would love to come to West Bloomfield and work with the chamber, and let's do that. Let's connect so we can get with those business owners. Let's get with the entrepreneurs, and let's get with those mid-level businesses who've been there and who've been doing it, who are just trying to figure out, okay, where do I go from here?
Right. And I want to ask you something else. I kind of just I just thought of something else from that. But just join us right here on the Splash Live, District Director for the Michigan District Office of the Small Business Administration, Lakita Henderson. Now, let's look on the other side of the business, right? The side that supports the business. How does all of the support, the resources that we get from SBA to support the businesses kind of also affects the customer side of the businesses from your perspective?
Okay. Say that again. How does...
So with the businesses receiving the help and support, and they're growing, and no matter what stage of the business that they're in, they're growing with their resources and support. Can you speak to any level of feedback or that they've received from customers, or the growth that they've seen from customers based on your resources?
Well, I mean, if you're growing and your customer satisfaction is going to be seen as well, because you're going to be driving in more customers as you grow. I mean, your growth, because the satisfaction, the growth, and I'm trying to put that together. Let me see. Customer satisfaction will, because one thing about it is, as you're growing, customer satisfaction will actually be a part of that, because you have to understand your customer as you're growing,
Right.
because you have to be understanding your customer to grow. Because in order to grow, you have to be understanding your customer, because you can't grow without your customer.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're getting that feedback from your customer is the reason you're growing. You see what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
As you're growing, your customer is telling you, this is what I like,
Correct.
this is what I need. And therefore, as you continue to grow, you continually do what your customer likes.
There you go.
So as you're growing, you continue to grow and do what your customer likes. And that should drive in more customers. And your customer will continue to come. And the feedback that the customers will tell to other customers will help you to continue to grow.
There you go.
So customer satisfaction is so important.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important. And people who ignore their customers tend not to grow and tend not to stay in business long.
Yeah.
So definitely that's so important. And they'll learn that from the SBDC, because you have to understand your customer to continue to grow. That's so important.
Right.
And I apologize for
No.
being slow on that.
I kind of worded it a little weird. Just voices in my head. I'm kind of, my mind is kind of scrambled. But essentially, you answered the question: the effects that the resources have on businesses, and how that ultimately affects the community and the customers, the people. So yes, I completely understand. Since we are talking about the Small Business Administration, which is a federal organization that helps, but we're focusing right here in our small West Bloomfield area. Can you just talk about why small businesses in general are important to the federal government?
Small businesses are important to the federal government because it is actually, the Small Business Administration is actually celebrating the 71st anniversary at the end of this month on the 30th. Nice. And it was created to level the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think most people realize that small businesses employ over 60% of those employed in the United States. And I think people underestimate, because when you think about employment, you think about all the Googles, the General Motors, but it is small businesses that employ. So it's so important, because they provide a large portion of the GDP in the United States. So if small businesses fail, our economy as a whole fails. So it's so important that we support them, because it is our communities that thrive on small businesses. Most of our communities employ small business employees.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why small businesses are so important, because if you drive around the communities, what do you see? You see small businesses.
Yeah.
You see cafes. You see bookstores.
Yeah.
You see everything.
Family-owned businesses, correct.
Family-owned businesses. That is what our communities thrive on. And I think most of us take that for granted.
Mm-hmm.
That if all of those close today, we just have a bunch of empty shells, and we don't realize that small businesses, and we keep hearing it, and we think it's a cliche, but they are the backbone of society.
No.
And that's why it is incumbent upon us to do all that we can to make sure they survive. Mm-hmm. And I don't think most people realize, though, it is our tax dollars that help support these programs. So if you're a small business owner or an entrepreneur thinking about it, keep in mind that these services that we offer, they're free. Yeah. You don't have to pay for this counseling, or when you go to see an SBDC, or when you go see a sport, they're free because the tax dollars have already paid for this. So you don't have to
Good
worry
point.
about writing a check or coming to pay to see these services or coming to pay to see us. They've already been paid for. You've already paid for these services through your tax
Nice.
dollar. So I see myself as a fiduciary for you, for all of us who pay these services, to mine your tax dollars well to make sure that everyone gets these services.
Good point.
And I feel pressure to make sure we're doing all we can.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's our job to make sure everyone who wants to be an entrepreneur and everyone who is an entrepreneur gets the services that they deserve. And that's why we're working hard to help those underrepresented.
Right, no,
Get
100%, and that help is absolutely needed for the underrepresented too. Great point. And we got to wrap up, Lakita, but real quick, if you just give people where they can get more information in regards to SBA locally and helping out their West Bloomfield businesses, please.
Sure. If you can just email at michigan@sba.gov, it goes to an email. It'll take you through some cues, but stay on, and it goes through an email, and we will get right back with you. And you can also email me at any time, Lakita.Henderson, Lakita, Laketa .Henderson @sba.gov. I will definitely get back with you as well. And thank you again for having me on here. This was great.
No, thank you so much for your information and your resources. Once again, District Director for the Michigan District Office of the Small Business Administration, Lakita Henderson. Thank you again for your time and your information.
All right. Have a great day.
Great information and resources provided by Lakita Henderson, who's the District Director for the Michigan District Office for the Small Business Administration. We love to pass the information forward to our residents and our watchers, our viewers and listeners right here on Civic Center TV and the Splash Live. Tyler, it's great information that we got out to our community.
Yeah, really interesting to get the insight of how this federal government administration is helping small businesses on the forefront of all of our communities, and not just hearing, like Lakita had said, the cliches of small business being the backbone of our community and so on and so forth, but seeing why and understanding that perspective from the SBA and the way that they actually get on the front lines and help these businesses from day one to day 1,000 and beyond help thrive in our communities. Really interesting stuff, and appreciate that. There is some changes going on in the Bloomfield Hills School District. A change of leadership is now official. Rick West was appointed the new superintendent of the Bloomfield Hills School District back in May and has now begun on the job in the Bloomfield Hills School District. We are now joined by Rick West on today's edition of the Splash Live. Superintendent West, thank you very much for joining us and welcome to Bloomfield Hills Schools.
Good morning, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on. And we know it's Bloomfield Hills and we're in Greater West Bloomfield, but it's one of the many districts, the several districts that serve the West Bloomfield area. I should know, I'm an alum of the Bloomfield Hills School District, having grown up in this community. So I want to welcome you as an alum, but also as someone in this community that interacts with Bloomfield Hills schools on a regular basis. And start off by having you explain to us, what first attracted you to apply for and to pursue this position in Bloomfield Hills Schools?
Yeah, I think it goes without saying. First, again, thanks for having me on. I think it goes without saying, Bloomfield Hills is recognized as one of the best public education institutions in the state of Michigan. So sitting in my seat as a deputy superintendent in another local district, it was pretty easy to make that connection that this was the premier job, as I mentioned to the board through the interview process, the premier job in the state. And, being in proximity and having the experiences I had, it was a pretty easy connection to say, this is the time and it's here and now that I seek to be the leader of what I believe is one of the best school districts in the state. So that's really where it came from. The search firm certainly reached out and through conversations with my family and my mentor and my wife, it was a very easy connection to pursue the opportunity.
And you mentioned that your experience immediately before taking this job was as a deputy superintendent in another school district right here in Oakland County. So how did that experience as someone in the high administration of a large school district neighboring in one of our neighboring communities help to prepare you to take over this particular school district?
Yeah, I think, being in the Troy School District is where I was for the last 10 years. And over the course of my career, my direct responsibilities have been assisting superintendents in the day-to-day operations of school districts. So I think throughout my career, I've been prepared for this opportunity. And certainly the opportunities that were afforded to me in Troy have prepared me well through the community engagement pieces, through being in the last year or so responsible for the day-to-day operations of the school district, through being on two strategic planning teams, and through leading the bond work that was passed over there, which was the second largest bond in the state. So I think looking at the myriad of responsibilities I had and the opportunities that's been afforded to me throughout my career, it was a logical next step to come over here.
And you mentioned working on some of the bond issues in the Troy School District over that portion of your career. Now you're in the Bloomfield Hills School District as their superintendent, and they've undergone a lot of changes in recent years too, particularly because of the 2020 bond pass year, which helped them convert back to a K through 5, 6 through 8, and then 9 through 12 format across all these schools. And so coming in at this time with that experience, how does that help you to then help the teachers, the administrators, and especially the students and families continue to smooth that transition into this new era in Bloomfield Hills schools?
Well, one of the things that I've learned through the transition process is what they're seeking, and what the Board of Education, and as I've had an opportunity to meet with many people, they're looking for stability. And I think I can provide that as a leader. The other one is a strategic plan. How do we take what we've done, or what we have, what's been given to us through the 2020 bond and the resources that we have available to us, and how do we leverage that and make things even better? So I think through my leadership, what people can expect is to bring people together, to collaborate, to listen intently, to understand, seek to understand, and then to develop plans and strategic initiatives around what we've learned and what we've collaborated around together. And I think, education institutions are very robust. There's great variability in our day-to-day work. And so I think what we need to focus on is how do we come together in authentic ways, understanding divergent thought is needed and required, and we develop a strategic plan moving forward. And that's one thing that I was very focused on throughout the interview process. And what I picked up on is that we have great things going on. How do we pick that up from there and develop a strategic plan moving forward? And I think that's the exciting work that awaits us. And bringing people together to do that work is going to be my primary focus over the next 12 months.
And that, a lot of that goes back to policy changes, and that all often comes along with an administrative change, especially at a higher level, and that ultimately trickles down to affect every area of education in the school district. So what are some of those policy changes that maybe you would be considering pursuing to continue to further increase the educational balance across the community and improve outcomes for students and for everyone involved along the line?
Yeah, well, I'll stop short of giving any robust policy changes or changes I want to make. I'm still I'm on day 4. So I want to make sure that I understand what's going on a little bit better. But I can tell you the primary focus is going to be how are kids and how are our students connecting throughout their experience, and how is every student feeling a sense of belonging. And what does that mean? How do we define that? How do we define connections? How do we afford those opportunities for all to connect in a meaningful way? So, from a governance level, our Board of Education and myself and our administrative team will be focused on what policies may need to change, what things might need to be viewed and looked at a little bit deeper. But that will all come through relationship building. You know, I in my 90-day plan, I laid out my focus areas will be on students, relationships, outcomes, and leadership. And those all need to be flushed out and defined a little bit more. But you know, we remain focused through these 90 days and beyond to establish a collaboration, authentic collaboration through all stakeholders, as many stakeholders as want to be involved, and making sure that we have those focuses and those lenses in which we do our work.
And as you mentioned, you're very early on in your tenure, you're just getting started, and that interaction with the students and that interaction with the educators, getting to know the school district that you're now leading is really important. So in these opening days and in these opening weeks, how are you pursuing building those relationships?
So I've had a number of meetings. I got started right after the appointment in May. I met with all of our board members individually. I've met with our entire cabinet team. I have meetings with district administration. I have a couple community events that are scheduled in August, and I recommend viewers look for those opportunities on our website. And then when school gets started, I'm going to be visible. I'm going to be accessible. I'm going to be responsive to the community. I want to meet people. I want to understand their perspectives. I want to understand their views as we continue to work toward a vision for our future. And so I will be out there. I'll be accessible, and you'll be able to talk to me. I'll be at events. My team is working on my calendar and making sure that I seize the opportunities to be in places where the Bloomfield Hills community are. So I look forward to that. That's part of the exciting work, is getting to meet the people, getting to understand their perspectives and where we are as a district and through their lens and how that's going to inform the vision.
Superintendent Rick West is with us, the newly entered superintendent of the Bloomfield Hills School District. Rick, before we let you go, let's take a journey forward a year or two or several down the line. And ultimately, when you get to that point and you've had some years under your belt, you've been able to implement some of these plans, what do you hope is the outcome, or is the impact, better yet, of your leadership in this district?
I mentioned in the interview process, I'm looking to make generational impact. So one, I want to be here for a while. If I look back a year from now or 2 years from now and define success, it will be our kids have meaningful experiences where they're connected and they feel belonging, and that we're able to get that data through a myriad of ways, through one, observations, two, survey results, things like that. So it's going to be a student-centered focus where we're really evaluating how our kids are feeling, how they're creating a sense of belonging, and the opportunities that we're providing them. So I think that's what will define success. If our students and our staff and all stakeholders feel a sense of belonging, and where Bloomfield Hills Schools is hopefully growing in enrollment, where it's a destination district, which it already is, where people are seeking to move here for the experience of their public education, and that we're providing that experience, and that we're really focused on student experience.
Well, Rick, as you make your opening interactions and you're taking your tours of the school district, one of the first places I suggest you head over to, the Pete Bowers studio over at Bloomfield Hills High School, and visit Ron Whittables and the team over at the BIF. A great program they have over there. Thank you so much for your time.
Great. I appreciate it. Tyler, if I could, real quick, sure. I'd be remiss. We have an operating millage on the ballot for August 6th. I encourage the community and the viewers to check out our website for the factual information and consider voting on August 6th.
All that information and more that you need to know about the Bloomfield Hills School District on bloomfield.org. Rick, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tyler.
appreciate your time. We appreciate him coming on the show as we introduce him to the community, and he introduces himself to the Bloomfield Hills School District. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On the other side, information about how you can bring some four-legged friends into your home, some new members of your family, and also help some animals in need right here in Oakland County. Stay with us.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead. When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Follow us on Twitter at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Keefe, joined as always by Kevin McIntosh. Now this time of the year, we're looking for a lot of fun out in our communities, and we want to bring some maybe additional friends into our lives, and often that happens when we bring a pet into our life. And Kevin, we want to get to you on this too, because there's a local organization, Oakland County Pet Adoption and Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center, that's looking to help some of these animals looking for their forever homes.
Man, Tyler, it's a great event, great initiative. It's by the Bissell Pet Foundation. It's the Empty the Shelters initiative. It's a nationwide event. As a matter of fact, it's the largest funded adoption event in the nation, right here on the Splash Live from the Oakland County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. We have Chief Joni Toole joining us to talk more about this. Thank you so much, Joni. And we want to say hello to your little friend also. Who do you have with you also, Joni?
This is Carolina. She's a 5-year-old mix, and she's up for adoption right now.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's get straight to it, Joni. Can you just explain how adopting a pet from a shelter can make a difference in the community, specifically our West Bloomfield community?
Yes, our shelters right now are bursting. It seems everybody in Michigan and the nation is suffering from owners trying to rehome their pets right now. I think COVID had a lot to do with that. Everybody ran out and got a pet because they were home, and now they're back to work. So the pet, they don't have enough time for it. Some people it's financial, but the shelters are bursting right now. And the Bissell Pet Foundation has really stepped up to the plate. They have done this for several years now. They subsidize the adoption fees. So right now you can pick up a dog at Oakland County for $25. Cats are $15. They're fully vetted. They're wonderful animals. Most of our animals here are stray, and they just lost their way. They're looking for a new forever home. And instead of going to a pet store, come to your local shelter, because you never know what you're going to find.
Right.
We do have, full breeds. We have mixes. I personally prefer the mixes. I think they're just a better, hardier dog. But yeah, instead of going and to the pet store and spending a lot of money on a full bred dog, give a homeless animal a second chance at life, and check out your local shelters.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're here for too, Joni, to promote adopting a pet, fostering a pet, whatever. But yes, right now it's about adopting, making sure we get these pets a nice, good, safe home. Join us right here on the Splash Live from the Oakland County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center Chief. We have Joni Toole talking about the Bissell Pet Foundation's Empty the Shelters initiative nationwide, but it's affecting right here in our local community. Now, you already explained how the Bissell Pet Foundation actually helps with specifically Oakland County animal control during this event, but can you just talk about how this event in general has had an impact? What impact have you seen on the community when this type of event comes to Oakland County animal control?
Well, it helps a lot because it offsets the adoption fee, which is normally over $100 for a dog and,
Right.
for a cat. So if you are looking for a pet, this is a prime opportunity to get a fully vetted animal here at the shelter that's going to fit into your family and your lifestyle. And like I said, they've been doing this for many, many years, and we're very grateful that they offer this. And it, like you said, it's not only in the state of Michigan, it's nationwide. And we hope that people will take the time to, open their hearts and come out to the shelters and give these animals a second chance. We have over, we have about 150 dogs, and 140 cats. And we're not the only shelter that's facing this. We're all kind of bursting at the seams, and we need the community's help right now to find these animals, their second home.
I'm so glad you said that. So this is probably one of the most important questions. Can you kind of walk us through the adoption process? Is it as easy as we're thinking? Is it as complicated as we're thinking? Take us through it, please.
Oh, it's very easy. Just come down to the shelter. We are open, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're open late on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we're also open on Saturdays. So, even if you're not in the market for a pet, to bring your family down here to walk through and take a look at our shelter and see what it's about. But it's very easy. You just come in. We will, ask you what your lifestyle is, what you're looking for. Are you a couch potato? Do you jog? And then we can match you up with the animals here at the shelter because we have volunteers that walk them. They know them. And hopefully we're going to find you the right pet that fits into that lifestyle. And then you just fill out an application and you're on your way. So it's very, very easy.
Beautiful. And I'm glad you all make it that easy too. Before we let you go, Joni, just any other key information you want to let the community know about pet adoption, this event specifically, or just any in general information?
Well, Bissell's going to be running through the end of July. But like I said,
Right.
If you're not in the market for an animal, this shelter is fairly new. It was built in 2017. It's a beautiful shelter. I would just like the community to come out and check us out, see what we're about. We have volunteer opportunities. I know that the kids sometimes have to have community, hours to graduate. This is a great place to volunteer and help out the animals.
I'm glad you brought that up, the volunteer opportunity. That's also key. There's a lot of people in the community that love animals and would love probably to be a part of that. Thank you so much again for joining us and explaining that to the Bissell Pet Foundation's Empty the Shelters initiative that's right here in our own backyard. Join us right here on the Splashlight, Oakland County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center Chief Joni Toole. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time, Joni.
Thank you so much for having myself and Caroline on.
Oh, Carolina, yes, thank you. Yes, see, and that's what we love to do right here. We know we have a lot of pet owners, dog lovers, cat lovers in our Greater West Bloomfield community. So there is a great opportunity for not only to adopt a pet, but do it for very reduced cost also, Tyler.
Yeah, and it's really important to help interact with our local pet adoption center, help these shelter animals find new homes, whether it's fostering, whether it's adoption, or whether, as Joni said, it's just awareness, getting out there and understanding what is available in terms of resources and helping these animals find those forever homes that hopefully do end up being forever homes for them. Close to home, Kevin, we had a familiar face back in town recently. The best hands in the land, now perhaps best teeth in the land as well. West Bloomfield football alum and University of Kentucky football star Maxwell Hairston came back in town, seen on your screen on CivicCenterTV.com with Dr. Woodruff from Caring Smiles Family Dentistry. Came back in town for the 4th of July holiday and got his teeth all shiny to go back on the gridiron this fall, where he's going to be one of the best defensive backs ranked in the entire country, and one of those other Lakers that are going to be on the draft board come perhaps next season. Of course, Maxwell was a decorated cornerback at West Bloomfield High School and part of that really stout secondary that led the Lakers to a 2020 state championship victory. Glad to have him back in town. Now, as we talk about some of our high school athletes, we've got to think about school in general. We've been talking a lot about education on today's program. Spirit of Grace Church wants to make sure that when kids go back to school in the fall, they have all the resources that they need to hit the ground running on day one. They want your help, and they need your help to make this happen, providing school supplies to children in need in our community. Their goal is to fill 20 backpacks over the course of the coming weeks for boys and girls to return with the essentials, those pencils, the notebooks, the markers that they may need, other basic supplies. And donations are currently being accepted. That is underway as we speak. You can drop them off at the church located at 2399 Figa Avenue in West Bloomfield, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. during their regular hours. In addition, you can drop off these donated items during before or after their Sunday worships, which happen at 10 a.m. So come before 10 a.m. or maybe a couple hours later after their worship services, and you can drop off these items. More information can be found on Spirit O' Grace on Facebook, facebook.com/Spirit O' Grace, or by visiting spiritofgrace.church. Kevin.
Sounds like some great initiative coming from a local organization, Spirit of Grace Church, to do great for the kids in the community in need coming for this upcoming school year, Tyler. Great to hear that.
Always good to help people out in our communities, especially the kids, as we get ready for the last few weeks of summer and then head back to school. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. That's our time for today. For our entire team, Jake Schaff, Thais Leverett, Kevin McIntosh, and our friends at Master Control, Peyton Skyver and Calvin Brown, I'm Tyler Kieft. Thanks for watching Splash Live.